Good afternoon, Salem. My name's Winifred. What's yours? Just kidding. My name's Mr. Austin. You all know that. Um, I'm here today for another math lesson, and I'm excited to get it started. So let's look at our learning objective. All right. Our learning objectives today says I can analyze the value of a number by using my understanding of place value. Okay, I can analyze the value of a number by understanding place value. Okay, so let's talk about that. What does that mean? Well, when we talk about value of a number, we mean how much something is worth. Like I might talk about the value of this can of Dr. Pepper. To me, the value is insurmountable because it is the nectar of life. But really, the value of the can is probably like what, 5 cents? So the value is how much something is worth. Okay. Um, in numbers, each number has a value, and we use that and we determine that by using place value, right? So if we have 3 10s, right, we know that that's the same as having um, 10 plus 10 plus 10, which is 30, right? Whereas if we had 3 1s, that would be like doing 1 plus 1 plus 1, which is 3, right? Um, which one is more valuable or has more value? The 3 10s, right? Because it's a larger number, it's a greater number. Not to say that 3 isn't an important number. You know, all numbers are important. But anyway, so let's look at this. So when we're determining value, right, we can often use a place value chart. And this place value chart helps us out quite a bit, right? So I'm just going to draw one real quick. Tenths. Oh, that is tiny, Mr. Austin. That's not going to work. There we go. Hundredths, thousandths, ones, tens, hundreds. Okay. So the way that we use this place value chart is using it procedurally, right? This place value chart doesn't have any meaning outside of the world of numbers and place value. So we use it as a procedural tool. Okay. We use it to understand the value of a number. So for example, if I had a 3 in the ones place, that tells me that I have 3 1s, right? Whereas if I had a 3 in the hundreds place, that tells me that I have 300s, right? So we use it to tell place value, but there are some rules that go along with this. When we use place value, we have to pay attention to the powers of 10 that are up at the top. Our numbers grow and diminish based on a power of 10. That's something that we've talked about before. So when, for example, when we have 10 ones, we move it over to the tens, right? Because we have 10 ones. 10 ones is the same thing as a 10, right? So we got to move it over to the tens, and then we don't worry about this place value. Same thing over here. When I have 10 100 or 10 tens, it's the same thing as 100. So we start writing our numbers over here. Okay, same thing works going backwards. If I have 1 and I want it to break it up into smaller parts, well, 10 tenths makes 1 1. So 1 1 makes 10 tenths. All right, and we see this a lot when we're looking at decimal numbers, and we need to have a better understanding of this. So let's say, for example, we have 342 tenths. Okay, that's the number that we see. All right, 342 tenths. And the instructions say, you need to write this in standard form. So let's do that, and let's use the tools available to us to write this out. So just like this says, we have 342 tenths. So let's write 342 in our tenths place. Okay. But what did I just get done saying? Okay. What did I just get done saying? that when we have 10 of something, we need to regroup it and move it over. So let's look at each of these place values and determine, do we have more than 10 of something? Okay, so the way that we can do that is we can break this up into its parts. So 3 is in my hundreds place, which means I have 300, right? 4 is in my tens place, which means I have 40 and I have 2. Okay, so let's write it out that way in here. Okay, so it's like I have 300, I have 40, and I have 2. Well, looking at this, I know that this is way too much to be in one place value, and this is way too much to be in one place value. So let's start bumping things over. All right. We know that when we are regrouping, we're grouping groups of 10. Anytime that we're in a place value, we can group a group of 10 and move it over to the next place value, right? Just like we can also do it the opposite way. If we need to move over to the right, get things smaller, we need more pieces, like when we were dividing last week, you can always break things apart by groups of 10 and move them over, but you have to have groups of 10. So let's see here. Here I have 40, which is the same thing as 4 tens, right? So that means that I can group 1, 2, 3, 4 tens, or 4 tenths, right? And move them over, okay? So now I have 4 tens, or 4 ones, okay? From 40 tenths, I have 4 ones. Now, let's look at this. How many groups of 10 can I pull out of 300? Well, I know that 10 tens equals 100, and I have 3 100s, so I must have 30 groups of 10. All right. Oh my goodness, I just belched. Did you all hear that? Excuse me. Where are my manners? All right, so we've got this moved over. We got it regrouped. So let's look at this place value. Looking here, our 2, it's fine where it's at. Looking here, our 4, it's fine where it's at because we can't make a group of 10. But here, we have groups of 10, right? We have 30, which is the same thing as 3 groups of 10. So we need to take care of that because we can't have more than 10 in here. So if I'm making groups of 10 out of 30, I'm making 1, 2, 3 groups of 10, okay, and moving it over. So now, looking at my place value chart, all of my numbers are in the right places, right? They are comfortable in their place value. They're not more than 10. They're all good. So now when we go to write this number in standard form, all we have to do is look at the place value that they ended up in. So when I'm thinking about 342 tenths, if I were to write that in standard form, I would write 3 tens, 4 ones, and 2 tenths, making my number in standard form 34 and 2 tenths. Okay, let's give another one a try. La, la, la. I'm going to try to erase this so that I don't erase everything else. Hello. Get it nice and big. Oh no, I failed. That's okay. We learn from our mistakes. All right. Hope that was a good brain break for you. Okay. All right. Let's try another one. All right. This time, let's say that we have 463 thousandths. ¿Por qué? Let's do it this way. Write it over here so I have more room. Okay, 463 thousandths. All right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to think about what parts of this number do I have. Well, I have 4 hundreds, which is the same thing as 400. I have 6 tens, which is the same thing as 60, and I have 3 ones. And I'm in the thousandths place. Okay, so here we go, 460 and 3. All right, my 3, she's Gucci. She's good. She doesn't need to move. My 60, he's too big for his britches. He can't stay in the thousands place because there's too many of him. Just like his friend 400, they can't stay either. Okay, we love a good number that can move. All right, it shows development, character development. And I digress. Anyway, so let's look at these numbers. Okay, remember we're looking for groups of 10. So if I'm looking at why do we have to start with 60? Let's start with 400. If I'm looking at 400, how many groups of 10 can I make out of 400? Well, I know that 10 groups of 10 makes 100, and I have 40 groups of 10 out of 400. So if I move it over to the next place value, I would have 40. Let's look at our 60. If I'm making groups of 10, 60 is the same thing as having 6 tens or 6 groups of 10. So if I move her over, we got 6. Okay, now my 3 is good, my 6 is good, they're nice and comfy, but my 40, too big for his britches. So let's look for groups of 10 again. If I have 40 and I'm making a group of 10, well, 40 is the same thing as 4 tens or 4 groups of 10. So if I move her over, I got 4 groups of 10. So now, if I wanted to write this in standard form, oh my goodness. Patricia. Okay, if I wanted to write this in standard form, we've got our decimal point, then we got our tenths place, our hundredths place, and our thousandths place. Oops. I was going to write the number 1,000. Our thousandths place has a 3 in it. Okay. So 463 thousandths is the same thing as saying I have 4 tenths, 6 hundredths, and 3 thousandths, or 463 thousandths. Okay, let's check our learning objective. It says I can analyze the value of a number by using my understanding of place value. I think that has been accomplished today. And I hope you have a wonderful Monday. I will talk to y'all later. Bye-bye.